Hey guys, what's up? Today I have a pretty cool video. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to record. I'm going to take all of the code that we've written so far in the previous 3 episodes of this series, and I'm going to finally take the output of that and turn it into a Tableau dashboard. And on top of that, I'm going to give myself 30 minutes to do it from scratch. So load in the data to Tableau, start a timer. From that point, I have 30 minutes to create the best dashboard I possibly can. So before we get into that, I want to talk about the script for a second. So cells.py, this is the Python script we wrote to go and web scrape insider arbitrage. Now I've made a couple of changes here. I've added in a number of pages to scrape, and I've also added in both transaction types, so buying and selling. So now the script will go out and web scrape all of the insider buys and insider sells over the previous 3 pages, and we'll return all that data. And on top of that, I've also created this stock sector, like scraping kind of thing, and it's right now a Jupyter Notebook. But what this does is it goes out and it grabs like 5,000 different stocks as well as the sectors that they are a part of. So I hopefully will be able to leverage that somehow, some way. I have a couple ideas. But yeah, so let's go ahead and get this timer started and give this thing a shot. All right, so the first thing I want to do is open up my OneNote. And so I like to use OneNote to kind of keep everything organized and give myself a good to-do list. So I'm going to type in to do, and the first thing I want to do is load in the data. Then I want to validate that the data types are correct. And I'm going to rename my columns. In fact, I want to do that before I validate. So let me drag that above. And I'm going to sort my measures and dimensions. Whoops. Okay, and then let's see here. I know I'm going to need a URL field from Yahoo. I am going to want to create a couple KPIs, and I want to get the total sell value and the total buy value. I'm going to want to create some sort of like sector tree map, I think. I think that'll look pretty good. And then also a stock heat map. Okay. Alright, so let's just dive right in. So I'm going to get Tableau opened up here, and I'm going to load in my data. So file open. Make sure you have all selected down here, and insider prices. Okay, data's loaded in. We can check that off. Now I'll rename the columns. I don't think I need this F1 column here because it just repeats over and over, 1 through 100. I'm going to delete that, or just hide it rather. Alright, symbol, this is actually the ticker, right? Owner, this is not necessarily the owner, this is the trader name. Whoops. Alright, their relationship, yeah, relationship to ticker, to company, how about that? This date is actually the date of transaction. Cost is cost per share. Number of shares, yeah, that's good. The value is the total transaction value. Total shares remaining. This is the date they filed the form for, so filing date. And type, this will be transaction type. Current price, yep, seems pretty good. And then my moving average. Okay, cool. Columns have been renamed. Alright, now I need to validate that the data types are correct. So starting over here, ticker string, trader name string, yep, string, that's good. Yep, this is a date. Sure, these look good. Filing date, this should be a date and a time. So let's change that. And then also, I don't like how transactions, how these are lowercase. So I'm going to go to my aliases here, and change this to buy and this to sell. So now these are uppercase. All right, I think that's it. So data types are correct. Let's sort the measures and dimensions now. So I'm going to go to my first sheet here. And dimensions are things that are qualitative. So things like names, dates, right? So date or transaction, that's good. Filing date, that's good. The relationship is a string. Yeah, so these are all dimensions, right? They don't change. Measures, these are values. So like number of shares, cost per share, current price, that might be a dimension. I'm just going to leave it here for right now, as well as moving average might be a dimension. This should be transaction value. And then total shares remaining, that's probably could also be considered a dimension, but we're going to leave it down here for right now. All right, so we got those done. Now KPIs, I want the total sell value and the total buy value. So I'm just going to grab all the transaction values. Oh, that looks like a big number. Huh. That looks like way too big of a number. So let's take a closer look at all this really quick. So I'm going to put my tickers in my rows, and I want to go to my analysis and turn on column grand totals, and I want to show those at the top. Wow, what happened here? Oh, yeah, that does not look right. I'm just going to exclude that from the data set. That looks much better. $1 billion versus, I think, 4 trillion. Yeah, I think that makes more sense. Cool. Okay, so we were making the KPIs. So I'm actually going to go to my data stores and add a filter for that ticker. And it was OTIV, I think. I don't know what the heck that is, but we're getting it out of here. That's weird as well. In fact, I'm going to get rid of that one too. I don't want any commas in these. And the reason why is because I'm going to dynamically build a URL later. Yeah, and some of these just don't make sense. So let's exclude those. Okay, you see how you have like a little strike through them now. Hit OK. Hit OK. Okay, now I can remove this. And my total grand total of all my values is a little over $1 billion. All right, great. So let's remove the ticker here. And I'm going to add in a filter by transaction type, and I want to get my buys first. Okay, so there were $218 million worth of buys. Let's see how I'm doing on time. Kind of curious. All right, 23 minutes. Sounds good. I'm going to make this a KPI, so I need to have some text. And this will be total by value. That sounds terrible, but whatever. We're going to change this to Arial because I don't like how the Tableau book looks. I'm going to make this quite bigger, like 18, and make this like a 9. I think it was 9 already. That looks pretty good. Okay, and I also want to make sure this is in the middle, so I'm going to put this in the center and middle, and then change my page to be the entire view, so it's not on the very center. I'm going to give this a little bit of shading too. So let's see here, let's just go crazy. How about that? Yep, and I'm going to change this to white, as well as bold it. Hit apply. I like that. All right, looks pretty good. So I'm going to rename this as my total buy value. And I'm going to duplicate this and do the same thing, but this time this will be my total sell value. And I'm just going to change this filter, so I'll show it over here, from buy to sell. Right, so there's all my buys, all my sells. Now, I don't really like how this value shows every single digit, so I'm going to go to my total transaction value and to the default properties, number format, currency custom. We want no decimals. We want to display this in, let's do millions. Nice, that looks clean. Okay, very good. All right, so my KPIs are done. At least the first two. I might make more later, I don't know. All right, a URL field from Yahoo. So one idea I had was to actually show the the chart of the stock in the dashboard. So to do that, let's do like Yahoo charts by, yeah. You can see I've already looked this up. So right here is a pretty cool website, right? You just have the chart here for whatever ticker you give it. Hopefully this loads. What's the deal here? Got that Walmart Wi-Fi. All right, so I'm gonna grab this part of the string, right? Just that part of the URL, and then I'm actually gonna get rid of this. I don't need this anymore. 20 minutes left, making good time, I think. Okay, so I'm gonna create a calculated field, and we're gonna call this ticker URL. It's gonna be that URL, but I'm gonna put this in quotes. So this is a string, and then I want to just add on the name of my ticker. Okay, and so what that looks like now is for every single ticker, my ticker URL is just Yahoo charts. Whoops, come on, mate. Yahoo chart AA ABV, right? Looks pretty good. So let's clear this sheet, and now I have this done. Wow, I'm making super good time. Holy cow. All right, a sector tree map. Okay, a sector tree map. What does that look like? Oh, well, first I need to get my sectors in here. So I'm gonna go to my data source, and I have this stock sectors CSV file, and it's just a CSV file that has all the stocks and then their sectors beside it. So I'm gonna do a join on this, and it's gonna be a left join because I want to keep everything from this insider prices table, and I'm gonna join it on the ticker name. So ticker equals symbol. Nice. And so what you will see now is over here, I have the sector and the symbol. And I want to hide this symbol because this is the one that came from the sector sheet, and I don't want to keep that one. But yeah, so sector here, all the way down. Let's see how many nulls I have. So let's go and put my sector in here, and total transaction value, 27 million, where they don't have a sector. Let's see what tickers those are. And let's filter where sector equals null. Quite a few. Okay, well, for some reason I don't have a sector for these stocks, but that's okay. We're gonna make a sector tree map, so I need my sector. I also need, let's do the total transaction value, and show me a tree map. Okay, I'm gonna change, I don't want that on color, I want my sector on color. So if I hold control and drag this up to color, and I'll get this pretty looking thing. Okay, and I want to show the value of the transactions. Okay, looks pretty good. Household, okay. Cool, cool, cool. I like it, I like it. So this will be my sector tree map. And then for this one, I'm going to need a stock heat map. And what that's going to look like, my idea was to get all the tickers in a row or a column here, put the transaction type beside them, actually in the columns, and then I want to get the total transaction value here. So now for each ticker I can see how much buying and how much selling went on. Okay, and let's turn this into a heat map, or a highlight table, rather, a highlight table. And I want to sort this by the one with the most at the top. So let's change the columns to rows. Sort again. Okay, there we go. So Procter & Gamble, that was that household sector, $503 million worth of selling. Okay, now a lot of these don't have values because they're so small, but that's fine. I mean, if it's less than a million, I don't really want to care about it anyways. So cool with me. Now, one thing I don't like is how there's all these spaces in here, right? There was no buying that went on for Procter & Gamble, so there's no data to report here. So there's a little trick we can do to put data there, rather put zeros there. So this will be my total value lookup. All right, and we're just going to look up the total transaction value, and the offset over here, as you can see, takes in an offset, will be 0 because we want the row that it's currently on. Okay, and this should be the sum of my total transaction value, just like it is over here. In fact, I could have done this and just dragged this over. Look at that, looks pretty clean. Now, if I hit OK here, and let's put this on my text instead, it looks something like this, which it's still not doing what I want to do. So to fix that, let's add in this function called zn, right? So if it's null, it puts a 0 there. Pretty slick. Hit apply. Now we have zeros. And I need to reformat this again, so total value lookup, default properties, number format, currency custom, 0, put it in millions. Bang, looks pretty good. I don't like this color scheme too much, so I'm going to click over here, edit colors. And let's make it like a red gold. Okay, that kind of matches this a little better. Okay, and this is my heat map. So stock heat map. Okay, with that, I think we're ready to begin building the dashboard. So let me think about what to do here. So I want to add KPIs, add tree map, and add my highlight map, my highlight table rather. And I want to add a web page with a URL action. All right, so let's just get this done and over with first. So add my KPIs. So I'm going to go down here and click New Dashboard. And right now it's pretty small, so I'm going to change the size to automatic. Okay, so I want my KPIs at the top, so my total buy value, and then my total sell value beside each other. I want to get rid of this filtering, or this filter. Yeah, I don't want the container. I'm going to hide the title, bang, look at those KPIs, looking good. All right, sector tree map, I want this below both of those. And I don't want all this coloring, it means nothing. So let's drag this up. Okay, they're my KPIs. I might put in a title here later, so let's put a text object above this, and let's just type in insider info, bro. And let's make this dark black, bold it. Is there a good title, maybe? Some sort of Arial. Never let me down before. Let's center it, and let's make it like size 14. Insider info, bro. Okay, looking pretty good. Sector tree map, I don't want that title there anymore. And I want the stock heat map here as well. Let's get rid of this. Okay, coming together. So one idea I have is when I click on a sector, I want it to filter down the stocks. So to do that, super simple. If I just click anywhere in here to get this action bar to pop up, I can click this little filter button. And now, whenever I click on one of these sectors, everything else filters away. So I can see in this biotechnology sector, there was $128 million worth of buying that went on and $24 million worth of selling. And then I can see the stocks that accounted for that over here. So AIMT being the main one. Okay, and I'm going to make this a little smaller. Can I do that? Don't think I can right now. So let's add in a web page right here. And for this, we're going to paste in that spy chart. I'm going to give myself a little bit more room, I think, for this. This is more of a vertical, something like that. Move this over. Let's take this heat map and turn it like that, and then put it between these. Get rid of that title. Move this up. Nice. Okay, and let's make this a lot smaller. So how much can we see here? I don't like how that's... Can I like... This is a little too zoomed in. Maybe I can like control zoom out? No. Okay, well this will be fine for right now. So now I need to add... Let me see here. Alright, add my KPIs, add my tree map, add my highlight table. Now I need to add this web page with a URL action, and what that looks like over here, if I click this little drop down, I can add a URL action. I can also hit Control Shift D or go to my dashboard and go to Actions, Control Shift D. But this is pretty easy. Add a URL action, and this will be click for chart. I want to run it on select, and I want it to only apply to the stock heat map. And this should be highlight table. Sorry about that. And I'm going to pass in the URL, which I don't currently have. Okay, so I need to go to this table, go to the sheet, and add in my URL to my level of detail. Oh, and that ruined it. Okay, so I'm going to change this to be an attribute, ATTR. Okay, now we're back. Looking good. Okay, so now over here, I can hit Control Shift D. That was that generated filter that I clicked right here. Let's create this action. So more stock goodies. Select stock highlight table. Change this URL to the ticker URL. And we want this to act on this web object. So now whenever we click on like PG, this changes to be a chart of Procter & Gamble, which is really cool. Now I want to have a little bit more room here maybe. I'm trying to think about a good way to have this chart show up. I can't really think of too much. Maybe I can give it a little bit more space this way. Can I change this to entire view? Oh yeah, that's the stuff right there. This is good. Let's give myself a little bit less of a title here. A little bit less of a KPI. And a little bit, okay. Pretty good. So now when I click like this $100 buy from net, don't know what net is. Oh, Cloudflare, I guess. We can see the chart. Looks pretty dang good. And if I click back here, I can actually hopefully see all of their, their previous close, the open. Of course, I already have a lot of that data in my data set. But yeah, this is super cool. I'm glad this worked out. Let's save as really quick to my desktop insider. Okay, this is looking pretty slick. So now a couple things I want to do still. Let's see how much time I have. 7 minutes, 35 seconds. Let's add filters for stock and date. And this is actually going to be the transaction date. Okay, so add filters for stocks, and what that looks like is over here. I'm going to click, I'm pretty much on any of these, but I know my stocks are here. I'm going to click this little drop down filter and add in a ticker filter. And I want this to be up here with my title, I think. Not quite what I wanted. Let's see if I can still move it. Nope. So let's do this. Let's put in a horizontal container at the very top. Put my ticker in there. and then put this here. Now I can size it like that. We want this to be a drop-down, multi-value drop-down. I'm not really liking this spacing here, but that's gonna have to be fine. In fact, let's switch these. Put it over there. Bang. Let me put this like way over here. Okay, I'm gonna put a blink in here as well, just so I can separate these. So ticker, and then I also want my date. But first I need to make sure that this ticker filter is applied to everything in my entire data source. Okay, so now whenever I click like none, that means everything should go away except for this web object and AMD. Now I only see things that relate to AMD. Okay, pretty neat. And now I want a relative date. So let's go back to this sheet. Let's add in the transaction date to my filters. I want it to be relative. And I just want the last 2 weeks. Last 2 weeks worth of data. Right, because what happens occasionally is that people make these trades like a month ago and then the filing is just reported way later. And so I'll be pulling in that data and I don't want to include that in this. So I add my filter in again, which looks like my day of transaction. Put this by my ticker. Okay, and then let's take these, edit title, maybe make them Arial. Sorry. Arial. I like that. Edit title. Arial. Center. Okay. Looking pretty good. So let's click on like Lulu here. I want this to look like a chart again. Nice. Okay, let's see how much time we have left. 3 minutes, 55 seconds. Alright, I've added in filters, a transaction date. Let's add some borders, kind of separate all this a little bit. So in my, let's click right here. Yeah, so the layout of this, I want to add in a really tiny light colored border. And do the same thing for this one and this one. Okay, let's see what this looks like. Ugh, pretty ugly, but it's functioning. Alright, those borders look like garbage. Let's get rid of them. Nice. Okay, let me give a little bit of color to these. Something like that. And I will give these a slight border. Nice. Maybe like that. Okay. I also, over here, I'm going to mess with this tooltip a little bit. I don't think I want all this stuff. So, in fact, I don't want pretty much any of this. No, I don't. Don't want any of it. So what we can do then is just unclick Show Tooltips. Okay. As well for these, I don't want the tooltips. So Show Tooltips. Probably shouldn't need it for this one either, but I'm gonna leave it. How much time do we have? 2 minutes. Okay, let's think. Let's see what else we can make really quick. I don't think I want to add anything else, but just kind of see what we got here. I wonder if I can add in... Oh, I can. I probably can. Alright, so over here, I do want a tooltip, and I want this tooltip to be my... Okay. current price. So current price is tooltip, and I want to make sure this is an average because if there's multiple instances of that one stock, then it's going to be inflated from what the actual value is. So make sure that's an average. Can we see it? Nope, because it's not my tooltip. Insert my current price. So this is going to be current price, and then also let's do a moving average. And for that, I'm going to drag this over here. Insert moving average, and let's. Oh, that didn't work. Unfortunate. Make these Arial and black. Current price. It looks pretty garbage, but gets the point across. I do want to show some decimals here. Nice. And then moving average. Default properties. Number format. Currency custom. Decimals. Bang. Okay, I think we're probably done. 15 seconds to spare. That's what we came up with. So this is pretty sick, right? Because of the work we did in the previous videos, every day when I log onto my computer, that script will automatically run. Oh, let me turn that off. That is so loud. Oh. Every day when I turn on my computer, that script will automatically run, and I'll get all the transactions from the previous whatever time. And I'm going to filter that down to the last 2 weeks. And then I get this, so I can see the total buys, the total. Oh man, I messed that up, didn't I? So let's fix this really quick. This should actually be total sells. I hope that didn't ruin the video for you. I know that probably bugged the crap out of most of you. It would have me. Alright, so total sales, total buys, and I can see exactly like where it came from. So for example, like Uber, $14 million worth of sales, which is kind of odd. They actually got a government contract. It's pretty weird. And yeah, so I can click in here like by my sector, so like biotech, filters everything by sector. So it might give me a good indication of what other stocks to look at based off of what sectors are picking up the most buys or sells. And I think the coolest part about this entire thing has to be this chart, right? Like clicking on any ticker will give me an interactive chart that I can mess around with. So yeah, guys, I really hope you enjoyed that. I had a lot of fun making it. This is pretty interesting. And I'd like to do kind of more things like this in the future, kind of like time trials, time constraints, and making dashboards and writing code. So yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Take care. Bye.